Before I start, I want to talk about what it took to even get this thing to my front door. I ordered this July 15th. There's supposed to be a 6 to 8 week lead time before it actually gets to you, according to New Breed. And I gave them the maximum, so I said 8 weeks, it should be here. Come September 9th, I sent them an email asking what's going on with my order, to which I received no reply. So 8 week mark hit on September 10th. I go online to see what's going on. I wasn't getting any responses until I finally came across their Facebook page, where they announced back May 19th that starting June 1st, they weren't going to be taking any more orders. They're backed up like 16 plus weeks, and it was going to take a while, which had me kind of worried, but just an exercise in patience, I guess. And then I finally received it September 30th. So I waited 77 days to get this to my front door, and finally was able to put it on the bike. So if you do order from them, if you are waiting, just keep waiting. They're not really responding to anybody's messages or anything like that. And I read that in their Facebook page, that there's a couple of people asking about their orders, but they're working on it. They're doing their best, just like the rest of us. So to start this installation, I'm going to get the muffler off. I'm going to loosen this collar right here and take the whole thing off so it's not dangling from the headers through the exhaust pipe. Then I will come back and get my 3D printed rear brake reservoir off over here. Then I'll be able to get the passenger peg off on this side. And on the opposite side, I'm going to just take the passenger peg off of here. There's nothing attached to that, so that's simpler. I think the license plate can stay where it is. We'll see once I get the passenger pegs off. Just wanted to go ahead and make sure that it fit. I had to go through, do a little bit of bending, but I started off, put this one in, and then came across, tried to put this one in, and it didn't really want to go, but this one did, so I got that in, and that was holding this up. Then I was able to pull and get that in, and then I was able to get that side in. So it fits. It'll go on nice. I just gotta pull it off now and get it painted to match my Impact Tech race rails. Now to get this ready for painting, I'm going to hit the grip tape with a heat gun, and then you have these bolts here to take the pucks out. On the opposite end, they already put their new breed sticker on there, and I actually want to keep that on the rail, so I'm going to very carefully remove that with the heat gun. And then I gotta sand it, take it outside, paint it, and let it dry for a little bit. The grip tape was a nice touch, but in all honesty, it does look a little janky. Looks like it was freehand cut, so I'm actually gonna find another solution. I'm thinking maybe some tennis rack handle wrap or something, but that grip tape's gotta go. Alright, so there she is, all naked and ready to go. See how thick that tubing is going all the way through there. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but I believe it's pretty sturdy. I'm going to take it outside and sand it so I don't get dust all over my desk. And I got some sandpaper here. I'm going to scratch the hell out of it. Look at that technique. Got it all sanded and strung up. I actually went back with a finer sandpaper to knock off any shiny parts. So that's a good surface for painting. Using my paint of choice, I got this Duplicolor Metal Spec red that I use on the rest of the parts of my bike, so I'll be doing that here too. This can is clapped out. It's all splattering and junk. But if we're gonna get it done, it's gonna look nice. So keep that going. Alright, so there's the final coat. That's where I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna put any gloss or anything like that on there, so if it gets scratched, I could just spray back over it. So now it's time to put the pucks back on. I'll wait to get that wrap on the where the grip tape used to be, and then I'll put it on the bike and see what else I need to do. I got 3 of them in, but this last one, that hole is a little bit off. So I'm going to try and bend it, maybe even drill it out or something. Yeah, it's not budging too much, so I'm just going to have to drill it out a bit bigger. No biggie. Alright, so it took some effort, but I actually got it on there. Nice and secure. Sturdy. Looks nice. Matches everything else. I mean, it's got to sit out in the sun some. It's slightly off from what's already on the bike, but that'll be remedied over time. But it's got a good height on it. I just got to get wrap to go around it to give me some grip, because I wasn't doing that grip tape. Not putting that grip tape back on. I'll get the new breed sticker and probably put it right there or something. I'll mess with that. But more importantly, I gotta figure out where all that's gonna go. And what I'm thinking is I'll have my rear brake reservoir right there, which that's still above that location ever so slightly. I can't put it back in there because that wheel is gonna be bouncing up on bumps and stuff, and I don't want to crush the PLA for that reservoir. And then I had a crazy thought that I think will work. What if I take my little Amazon $60 muffler, I'm gonna cut the pipe somewhere in there, slip that in there, and then make a bracket that goes from that piece to some bolt over there, whatever, just to hang it up. And then I'll have a low slung muffler. For those screaming right now, because this is supposed to be up here like that, but I don't really like how that looks, in all honesty. It'd be easier, but I want to put it on the bottom here. Here's a stock muffler compared to the $60 Amazon one I got. And I guess whatever muffling properties that this thing has, also it's heavy as hell. That was going to have to go up under here somewhere. They weren't going to fit all of this just underneath the bike there. But, goodness, that's heavy. This little Amazon one, it's a lot lighter, smaller. The rest of this pipe is the same diameter as this opening, so I can cut it and just be really diligent about cranking down on this collar right here. So I'm going to stick that right under there, get a bracket going, and that's where my exhaust is going to come out. I'm not having it all the way up here. And for those of you who are familiar with a Ninja 400 exhaust, there's the connection up at the headers, and then there's nothing supporting this until that bracket. So all this is free floating. I'm gonna have to take this little bottom fairing off. I'm gonna cut it right here, just before it starts bending, and then I'll be able to slip that on there and then figure out some sort of bracketing system. If we look, we can either get a longer bolt here and have something hanging off there, or on the back where this where the brake lever pivots, you could have a bracket come off of that and support the muffler on that end. So let's take this fairing off. Now that I exposed the exhaust pipe, you can see you got your catalytic converter here, and then this is all just pipe. We got a slight bend coming in here, so I'm going to cut it just before there, somewhere in there, and that's going to give me enough real estate to slip this collar over and have some room to play with. But slip this collar over, and then the space that this pipe is occupying is where the muffler is going to go, and then that's going to stick out where this pipe is, and then this bracket, and then I have to make a bracket that's going to hold the rest of this up. So time to grab the hacksaw. This is going to take a while. It got a little more violent than I anticipated, but it's cut off. That's gone. And to whom it may interest, there's our little catalytic converter back there, just doing its best in the back of this giant can. So like here's that, and then it's just this little, where you can see this discoloration right here. There's your little bit of honeycomb, and so all this is empty space. I thought that was interesting. But before I put the muffler and get that fitted, I'm going to put this piece of fairing back on, so I make sure I'm not putting it somewhere that it's going to start melting plastic and junk like that. Exciting. So here's where I'm at right now. I got the exhaust set up down here. I like that a lot better than it coming up all the way up here, because before it was, or it would have been all the way up here, but I thought that was a little extra, so cut the exhaust, got it down there. Only thing I didn't anticipate is these little springs that hold the muffler onto this adapter. They're like 90 degrees away from each other, so got to figure out how to remedy that, or go to AutoZone and get another adapter or something like that. But that is how that's gonna look, so that's a bit better. Gonna make a bracket to go from, I'm figuring I could take this plate off, get some longer bolts, and then have another piece come off here, so it'll be connected over there. And that's not going to interrupt my foot over here, or if I come up here. As far as my rear brake reservoir, I'm going to have it, actually I'm going to have to flip it so it's up in here somewhere. Cover that up. So it's up in here somewhere. I'm probably going to get another adapter or another bracket piece right there, and then drill some holes and get it mounted so it's nice and solid. But it'll be out of the way of me putting my foot on the sub cage, so I don't break it off or whatever the heck. So probably gonna take care of that tomorrow because I have an event to go to. It's a new day, new brain cells, and I have some ideas. I went to the hardware store and I got a sheet of steel that I can cut with some blades to make a little bracket that'll go behind this foot guard and then come down somewhere, and I can even bend it so that I can attach to the muffler hanger. I was looking for clamps since I lost the function of having the spring from here to here, since I have to turn this piece 90. Just for now, I got this exhaust clamp. Looks really janky in this application, but I went on Amazon and I'm ordering another one of these clamps that already came with the exhaust, more low profile. So that'll just be temporary so I can ride around for now. I'll have to break off these pieces here so I can get some slits cut in the exhaust so the clamp has more real estate to work with. And then once I get that new clamp in to replace this janky piece, I'm gonna wrap the area, wrap this whole section in this exhaust fiber weld, JB Weld business, and that'll look a bit better than just having some random hardware and these bits sticking out. So yeah. That's trash. Pretty sure I'm not using the right tools to get rid of these, but it's coming along. Alright, now that I got those little tabs off, I'm going to cut some slots top and bottom so the pipe can bend when I put the clamp on there, this one and the new one. I'm thinking top and bottom, so I'll cut here and cut here, but only deep enough that this part of the pipe can cover up any holes so I don't have any exhaust leaks coming out of there. So you can kind of see, even on the muffler itself, it's got some, or maybe not, it might be washed out, but you can see some exhaust gases have been spewing out behind here. There's some discoloration there from where it was butted up against the other pipe with just those springs, so this should be a bit more secure than what that Amazon exhaust had going. No, actually do that. Alright, that should be enough of a gap for the clamp to bite down on this part. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but once I get that other clamp and it's going to completely cover that, we're all going to forget about this. So, as long as it works. Temporary. This is temporary. Alright, so that's basically where I want it. I'm gonna get some construction paper or whatever, copy these holes, and then try to design some sort of minimalistic bracket to get to this piece right here. So it doesn't look too bad, won't look too ridiculous. I do need to take this back off from this piece because where the spring used to connect on this part of the pipe, that is coming out and it's hitting the plastic, so it's gonna make some noise riding down the road there. So I'll get that cut off, put it back on, and then proceed to get this bracket made up. Shave that piece down so it's not hitting the plastic anymore, although it is extremely close, but we'll play that by ear as time goes on. I might just shave that down since it's underneath the bike anyway, nobody's going to see it, but keep that from melting against the exhaust. I took off my right foot guard, and I'm going to have the plate. It's going to be thin, nothing too major. Maybe not even much more wider than the bolt hole itself, but I'm going to come up here. I'm going to start up here. There's going to be a piece that comes down, and then it's going to sweep back in this direction, and then I'll have a little bend in it to come down, and then have another bolt hole to attach to there. So this will be secured to the back of the foot guard. But I'm going to do that in paper, get that perfected, figure out where my bend is going to be, and then I'll transfer that to the metal sheet, and then try to cut that out with the that guy sitting over there. So here's what I got. Gonna attach to these two bolt holes here, and then it's gonna bend at that dotted line somewhere. And then that's going to be where the muffler hangs off of. So this is just a general shape. I can refine it once I get it transferred over to once I get the actual bracket in place and things get lined up. But I'm going to draw this out on the sheet metal. I might actually make these slots just so I can get the up and down position just perfect. And then I can use the bolts to hold that position behind the actual foot guard. So get that transferred to there. Got the basic shape of the bracket made. I went ahead and put the bolts back in and tightened them down so this section is where it needs to be. That allowed me to bend this to the angle that I need it to be sort of parallel with the muffler. And then I went and squeezed this bracket together, and that's going to be the hole that I'm going to need to drill, so then I can hang the muffler off of that. And then I'll do some beautification. I got some rough edges going on here, some ugly shapes, corners and things like that. Probably put a little bit of a cut into this a little bit more, but yeah, I'll get that taken care of. Then I'll paint it black, put it back on the bike, and that's going to look a lot better than just this base rusty metal that I got going on. And that will take care of the muffler. Then I can move on to making a bracket for the rear brake reservoir. It's going to go up here. Bracket's probably going to come off of this to hold that up in place. And then that'll be my back end for my bike. I did my best, coach. It looks like garbage, but I can only use the tools I got on me. But it'll do the job. Just gonna sit that here. Go ahead and get that shoe guard in place, and then I'll bolt that in, and that'll be it for the exhaust. Still waiting on that collar to come in, so I can get rid of this. I think if I'm going out right, I'm gonna go ahead and spin that around so nothing catches these bolts, and then I will move on to mounting the brake reservoir on the back. Probably gonna have to drill another hole here, make another garbage bracket, and come up here somewhere so that I can get that locked in. So here's the old mount for the rear brake reservoir. I still have some leftover metal from the last time I made this, so I bent the piece. It's basically the same length. It is the same length, but it's got a bend in it that's going to push the bottle, tuck the bottle up under the bike just a bit more. It still clears the back tire, and I jumped up and down on it, and it's not hitting anything or getting close, so it'll be alright. I just got to drill those holes in it, drill these small holes, and transfer these 3D printed braces onto the new piece. And then this is going to be what holds the reservoir on. Alright, here's where we're at. I got the brace bent and in place. I got the 3D printed mounts on there. Bottle's where I like it. I just got to get the zip ties back on there, so that'll be in place. When I go to paint this, I'm going to paint it the same color I did the bracket. So I probably should have went with a matte black, but there we go with the glossy, whatever, it matches the fairings. But when I take these bolts out, I'm going to go ahead and knock that weld down a little bit so that bolt is sitting flat so it doesn't look so janky. And I might just make some sort of cover or something, cover those bolts up. I'm not too wild about the those bolts showing through like that. Although you can see all the other hardware, so I might leave it. But I'm also gonna go ahead and I might dangle my Guardian bell off of this, because I don't want to cut this off. But I might dangle my Guardian bell off of that. I know it's supposed to be as low as possible, but right now I got it dangling off my it's too dark. There's a bell in there. Well, I'm going to put that there. So, coming along quite nicely. Alright, try to clean that weld up a little bit so it wasn't getting in the way of the bolt. That's sitting a lot better. But I mangled the paint, which is okay, because since I didn't do any finishes, I'm just going to go ahead and spray back over that. And then that's going to look a-okay. There she goes. I got my Guardian bell dangling from where the muffler would have been mounted to. But I got it mounted down here with the bracket. I'm going to get that new clamp in so I can clamp it there. So that's the same as low profile as that. Got my new breed subcage on. And then I got that second bracket made, curving right there. So it bolted there, curves, and I got these two 3D printed braces, zip tie with some heat shrink on them, so it looks a bit more stylish. 3D printed cover for the rear brake reservoir that's actually sitting inside here, so this isn't actually full of fluid. And then it goes to this hose that just goes down to my rear brake. Even so, that looks pretty nice. Came together. Sturdy. That's sturdy. Then I went ahead and put the new breed sticker back on, so everybody knows it's official. There we go. Ninja 400 subcage. Already got the Impact Tech race rails on there, so be more comfortable doing wheelies and all that other craziness. See y'all next time. So just for fun, I went ahead and laid it down on one side. Right now it's just sitting on the Impact Tech race rail. I got a little bit of contact with the shifter over there and the rear set, it pivots. So even though that piece is touching the ground, that may or may not break off, depending on how much speed it's got. If we put a little weight on the back here, now we're touching the new breed subgauge, and the rear set just bends a little bit more. I got more clearance on the shifter, and it's still sitting on the Impact Tech race rail, so it's good on that side. So let's see how it's doing on the other side. And if we lay it down on the other side, you can see it sits on the race rail again. The rear set moves out the way. The muffler just barely clears. And if we put a little bit more weight on the back, now the muffler is touching. But I guess that's just gonna get destroyed when if I lay it down on this side. But just before the new breed touches, the muffler gets pinched between the swing arm and the ground. But it's also a $60 Amazon muffler, so I'm not too mad at that at all, as long as I can ride home at the end of the day. It might be a little bit louder if that falls off, but everything else checks out, so I'm pretty happy with the results. Oh yes. Alright, I appreciate you watching. This is actually the last upgrade I'm going to do to the bike for a while. With the season changing, and I actually went ahead and bought a house and some other things that are going on. I'm actually trying to save my money and allocate that to other places. The next thing I see myself doing a video on is changing my tires, because those are running bald. I've been doing burnouts and practicing wheelies and things like that. So I'm going to make a video about getting all the tools and getting the new tires and mounting and balancing everything yourself. And then the next thing I'll do after that is I'm going to get that clutch kit. That's like $500. I'm going to get that put on the bike and show the adjustments before and after, taking the cover apart, taking the clutch apart, and putting that all back together. So I see myself doing that in the future. In the meantime, we were thinking about making some videos about changing houses and upgrades to a new house and things like that. I want to do more videos on, or I want to make some videos about my 3D printer and the things I do on that side of things, because there's actually a lot more I have going on than just upgrading my bike. I'm actually very into all that DIY. Hello. Would you like to be petted? Would you like the pets? Yeah, you wanted to be petted. You okay? Goodbye. But yeah, I have a couple other things going on. I got a lot of 3D printer projects I want to do. I have this mini bowling machine project using a couple Arduinos and servos and stepper motors and things like that. So I want my channel to be more diverse rather than just doing motorcycle stuff. So stay tuned for that, or don't. I'm gonna do it anyway. Thanks for watching.